All right, what's up, boys? So UFC 310 just got announced, which is going to feature Belal Muhammad defending his belt against Shavkat Rakmonov. We've all been waiting for it. I'm so excited for this fight. So I'm going to be discussing this matchup and a few other matchups on the card, some key matchups, and just give my predictions and breakdowns on them. So let's get right into that main event. Shavkat Rakmonov versus Belal Muhammad. Now, I know I shit on Belal Muhammad a lot, but let me say respect to Belal Muhammad because he's taken on the hardest matchup in the division. Now, if anyone hasn't noticed, this is a fight of polar opposites. We have Belal Muhammad, who has one finish or one TKO in the UFC, and it wasn't even a standing TKO. So Belal has two finishes in the UFC out of like almost 20 fights, and Shavkat has finished every single fight he's ever fought. 18 finishes, 18 wins, which is a crazy stat. And Belal has one finish in the last like 9 years against Sean Brady, a standing TKO. I think TJ Dillashaw mentioned it. Belal has fought in the octagon over 4 hours and has not recorded a single knockdown. Him and Dominic Cruz. That is an insane stat. And also, has everyone seen the Belal hate going around? Freaking TJ Dillashaw hates Belal. Dricus Duplessis, Ilya Taporia, Conor McGregor. They're all throwing shots at Belal. Because, bro, whenever you don't get finishes, people don't like you. That's why I don't like Belal. I don't care if he dominates every single fight he's ever fought to a 50-45. It's boring to watch. I want to see submissions. I want to see knockouts. And he just doesn't offer either of those. So, of course, I'm going to be rooting for Shavkat. And besides rooting for Shavkat, I think Shavkat is the better fighter. I think he has better striking. I think he has a better chin because Belal has been KO'd before. I think Shavkat has better grappling, better submission, way better submissions. Belal has no submission game whatsoever. Dude literally just smudge grapples, and he can't do that with Shavkat. And Shavkat's also taller, so I feel like he'll do well against a shorter opponent in Belal Muhammad at range. So we'll see. Shavkat, I think his last win was, he finished Wonder Boy on the ground after saying he was going to strike a Wonder Boy. But yeah, man, in this matchup, give me Shavkat Rakmonov all day. Belal Muhammad's title run is going to come up short-lived. Let's not forget, Belal Muhammad is 36 years old, probably on steroids, even though he is making fun of TJ Dillashaw for being on steroids. I believe that Belal Muhammad is on steroids. You don't hit puberty twice in your mid-30s and start all of a sudden hit an athletic peak at 36 years old. You just don't. I don't care if he's with Team Habib. But that's besides the point. I don't care about that stuff. I care about the matchup. Rakmonov, he's undefeated in the UFC. He's beat some good names. Carlson Harris. He's beat Jeff Neal by standing rear naked choke. He's beat Stephen Thompson by rear naked choke as well. I mean, Shavkat, he's dangerous. Obviously, he has 18 finishes and 18 fights. And yeah, he's the boogeyman of the division. I think he's super marketable if he wins. And man, if Shavkat wins, the welterweight division is going to be great again. But yeah, shout out to Belal. I know, like I said, I know I hate on Belal, but he's fighting the hardest matchup, and he's fighting 4 months later. I know we're used to Leon, who fights like once a year, but it's nice to see the champion actually defend his belt more than once a year. So shout out to Belal. I don't think he's going to win. I think Shavkat Rakmonov probably by decision, to be honest. I'll give Belal credit. He's hard to finish. I think Shavkat can win a decision. But hey, who knows? Beating Belal by decision, that's his game, man. Belal's the decision king. So that might come up tough for Shavkat. So let's see. Yeah, let's move on to the next matchup on this card. Alexandre Pantoja faces Kai Asakura. They're giving Kai Asakura a title shot in his debut, which I think is exciting because he's a huge star in Japan. He has a ton of followers on Instagram and a ton of subscribers on YouTube. He's massive. And if he could come to the UFC and destroy Alexandre Pantoja by like a knockout, dude, he would explode the Japanese market in Japan for MMA so much for the UFC. That'd be amazing. And then you could set up a fight with him versus Tatsuro Taira once he bounces back later on. But let's not kid ourselves. Kai Asakura is a striker. Alexandre Pantoja is one of the best grapplers in the flyweight division, if not the best grappler, with the iron chin. And as we know, Kai Asakura comes from Ryzen and such, and those promotions where knees to a grounded opponent, soccer kicks, and all that are legal. That's illegal in the UFC. So I could see, man, I could see him just landing something illegal and getting disqualified. That would be such a sad way to lose a fight. But either way, Kai Asakura, he's really good. He's a really amazing striker. Not the best grappler. He's been taken down before in fights. He's been knocked out by Manel Cap as well. But it's exciting. I actually don't mind the idea of fighters coming from another promotion and getting a title shot in their debut. I think it builds excitement for the divisions. And right now, flyweight's kind of in shambles with Pantoja beating everybody. He's beaten Royval twice. He's beaten Moreno 3 times total, I think. I mean, he's beat Steve Erceg barely. He hasn't fought Kai Kara France, but who cares? So yeah, Kai Asakura coming into and Brandon Royval just beat Tatsuro Taira. So Kai Asakura coming in, get a title shot. I think it's the perfect time for it. And yeah, I hope he wins. Pantoja's just, flyweight's just not exciting. We need some excitement. And maybe this Japanese phenom can come in, smoke Pantoja, just hit him with a nice knee to the dome and put him out on the canvas, yeah. But probably not going to happen. We're probably going to see Pantoja get like a 3rd or 4th round submission, and it'll be a good fight. Either way, I'm excited for it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. Let's move on to the next fight. Key matchup on this card, bro. What is Nick Diaz's physique in this picture? He looks like, this looks like he came from the barbecue drinking like 4 beers. Either way, Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz. Now, even in Vicente Luque's current form, where he shelled up in his last fight against Buckley and just kind of literally let himself get TKO'd, and he had a brain hemorrhage and took a year off after he fought Jeff Neal. But even in his shelled up, tentative state, I still think he beats Nick Diaz. Listen, Nick Diaz is an old head. I think he's 41 years old. He shouldn't be fighting anymore. I mean, he looks okay in the training footage I've seen, but let's not kid ourselves. I think Vicente Luque is going to smoke Nick Diaz. It's going to be sad to watch. And yeah, I really don't want to see Nick Diaz fight. Like, he looked sad in his last fight against Robbie Lawler like a year and a half, 2 years ago. But he did say he wasn't training for that fight. He was kind of forced into it. But I still think Luque is going to destroy Nick Diaz, and it's going to be sad to watch. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. You should have did like Nick Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. Both fighters go home after. They both retire. That'd have been a good send-off. And did y'all see Tony Ferguson's come out and said he's not going to retire? He's going to call the UFC for a new fight because he's too old to retire. Brother, you're on an 8-fight losing streak. It's time to retire. I don't think Tony Ferguson beats a single UFC fighter on the roster at this point. But anyways, back to this fight. Yeah, Tubby Man, Nick Diaz. I love the Diaz brothers. They're exciting. But dude, you're in your 40s, Nick Diaz. There's no reason to come back. Maybe financial reasons. I don't know. But yeah, man, It's going to be sad to watch, but let's see what happens. It'll be cool, in a sense, to see Nick Diaz walk to the ring again or the octagon and get one more fight in, but it's going to be sad to watch when he loses because I don't think he's going to beat Luque. But give me Luque by probably like a 2nd round TKO. Let's move on to another matchup on this card. Now, this matchup is actually interesting. This could end up being like a giant snooze fest on the feet if both fighters cancel each other's grappling out, but I see Mavzar as probably the better wrestler because he comes from like a Sambo background, and then we got Aljamain Sterling, who probably has the better submissions. Mavzar doesn't have a single finish in the UFC. Aljamain Sterling has a couple finishes in the UFC. He's got a submission over Corey Sandhagen. He's got that TK over a one-arm TJ Dillashaw, which wasn't that impressive. I'm sure he has another finish somewhere in there, but both of these guys, they fight to decision a lot, so this fight will most likely go the distance. Who am I leaning towards? Honestly, I'm probably leaning towards Mavzar. He's younger. He's undefeated. I know Aljo has really good submissions and back control, but Mavzar is no slouch on the ground. I don't like Mavzar. I think I've made that clear in the videos I've made about boring fighters. Dude, something about, call me a casual, bro, but excuse me for wanting fighters to go for a damn finish. Mavzar was finishing fighters, and the second he got to the UFC, he's like, what's a finish? We'll go all decisions. And he's 8-0 in the UFC, arguably lost to Arnold Allen. Probably lost to Arnold Allen, let's be real. Aljamain Sterling dominated Calvin Kattar in his last fight. It's his 2nd fight at featherweight. I'm excited for this matchup, but I think that Mavzar is just going to be a little ahead of the game than Aljo. Because Aljo is probably going to go for submissions, and Mavzar is going to take position over submission, and he'll probably just lay on top of Aljo. But either way, who knows, man? If Aljo locks up a submission, I've been waiting for that for so long, for a BJJ guy like Aljo to submit like one of these Russian Sambo guys. I've been waiting for it for so long. Can somebody, I know I'm a casual, can somebody in the comments tell me if that's happened? Like, where is the Sambo, like, dominant Russian fighter been submitted by the BJJ guy? I wanted it to happen whenever Charles fought Makhachev. It didn't happen. Like, I've wanted it to happen so many times, and it just doesn't happen, man. These Russian wrestlers are just too damn good. But yeah, give me Mavzar by probably like a 29-28 decision. Maybe Aljamain wins the first round, and Mavzar wins the last two. Who knows? But yeah, let's move on to the people's main event of this card, the fight we're all really waiting for. Bro, the on-paper GOAT versus the John Jones Slayer. Bro, listen, Anthony Smith, in the prime of his career, no, dude, Anthony Smith's fucking cooked. Dude, whenever Khalil Roundtree was about to drop that fucking hammer fist on him, bro looked like he saw a ghost on the ground. He was like, oh shit, don't hit me with that. And then we got Dominic Reyes, who gained a little bit of momentum at the beginning of this year. He knocked out Dustin Jacoby in the first round. That was beautiful to watch. Dustin Jacoby's no slouch on the feet, so it was nice to see Dominic Reyes come back and get a win. He's fighting Anthony Smith. Now listen, Anthony Smith maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I think at this point, might have beat Dominic Reyes. He might have took him down and submitted him. But bro, Anthony Smith in his current state, I think he's like 1-4 in his last 5, maybe 2-4, 2-5. His last win was against Vitor Petrino, I think, who just put himself into a guillotine. And Dominic Reyes just knocked out Dustin Jacoby to finally get back on track after 3 brutal KO losses in a row. So it was nice to see Dominic Reyes get a win. This is perfect matchmaking, in my opinion. This fight is very exciting. And I could see Dominic Reyes just going out there and knocking Anthony Smith down and TKOing him on the ground, probably end of the first, beginning of the second. Look, Anthony Smith, he's way past his prime. He's 36 years old. He's just getting finished by everybody at this point. I think Anthony Smith's got like 1 foot out the door. Like, I think he loves fighting so much he doesn't want to retire. He just wants to be one of the boys, and he still wants to be in the octagon, you know, and lying hard. I never give up, even though whenever he gets the ground, he shells up, like when he did against Magomed Ankalaev, like when he did against Glover Teixeira. Like, listen, man, Anthony Smith, call him Lionheart, but he's curled up to the fetal position plenty of times and just take a beating in the octagon. But I don't even think that's going to be necessary this fight. I think Dominic Reyes is going to bust him up pretty good on the feet. He's going to get him on the ground, and he's going to TKO him. And yeah, it's going to be sad to see because we all know we want the GOAT Anthony Smith to succeed so he can go up and destroy Alex Pereira in a firefight, as he claims. But yeah, man, UFC 310, I'm really excited for this card. Like I said, shout out to Belal Muhammad. He's taking on the hardest matchup in the division for him. He's back 4 months later after his last fight. I think he realizes that he's older in age. He's going to have to get as many fights as he can in. But I don't even think he gets a single defense. I think Shavkat beats him. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate you watching. Videos coming out a little late today, but like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I'm going to keep coming with videos every day. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Later.